Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Josh here again. We're back in the garage today, again working on the 2021 MT-09. Hey guys, today we're going to be taking the ECU out. So I got word from Motivation USA that my SC Projects exhaust is on the way, and I want to get the ECU out to Dave over at Vcyclenut to get it flashed. So today I'm going to show you the process of just taking that ECU out. We're going to get it boxed up and we're going to mail it off to Dave. So, and then David's going to take care of me, get it all set up. And then when it gets back, we'll get another video of the reinstallation, and you're also going to get a video probably in a couple weeks on the SC Projects install also. So sit back, guys. I'm going to grab some tools, and we'll get started taking that ECU out. All right, guys. So the first part for me is I'm going to pop the seat off, get it out of the way, and then I'm going to disconnect the negative side of the battery. Listen, cars, motorcycles, trucks, anything you're doing, especially if it's going to involve electrical, like the ECU or radio installs or whatever, it's always a good idea just to take that negative battery lead off, kill the power to the bike, and proceed from there. So that's what we're going to do now. I'm just going to pop the seat off. We're going to take the negative terminal off that battery, and then we'll get into taking the fairings and stuff off the front. All right, guys, you can see, I mean, once you get the seat off, the battery's right in front. Here's our negative terminal. It's a 10mm, or it's got a Phillips head too. So we're just going to pop this negative lead off and get it out of the way. You know, again, guys, electrical work, it's always a good idea just to take the negative lead off and kill all power to the bike and get it out of the way. And we're just going to put the nut or the bolt back in that hole there just to keep it on. So now that we got that disconnected, we're going to head up to the front of the bike here. We'll get those fairings off. All right, guys, so we got a couple things here we got to do to get this. We got to take off this plastic here, this piece here, this fairing here, take off the rest of the air duct here, and then we should be able to get to some bolts and stuff over there so we get the rest of the tank off. So we're going to start with just the painted pieces here. There's a 4mm hex right here, and I'm going to take the camera and see if I can show you underneath. There's a pin, if I can get a good angle with the camera here. There is a push pin right here that you push the center in and then pop it out. So I'll be able to show you that a little better because there's another one of those push pins here on the front of the air dam that has to be done. So I'll be able to show you that a little better there. But that's the first part to get these plastics and stuff, this section of the plastics off. So we're going to do that on both sides, and then we're going to get into what's underneath here. There's also, guys, there's a little plastic washer here. You can see it there on the bolt. Don't lose that because that keeps this piece nice and keeps it from scratching your paint. I also turned to my handlebars, guys, just to get them out of the way. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side so the bolts there's a little more room in here to work if you turn your handlebars while it's up on the stand. Alright, guys, so now I have the camera in place here. You can see this is that other push pin that's on that plastic right there. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your small tool, you're going to push in on the center, and then you're just going to pry down on it a little bit here with something very thin, and then that pin should come straight out, and there you go, you got your pin out. So it's the same process on all the other ones too, guys. Just push the center in, and then you can pull that pin right out. So I'm going to do the other pins, and then we'll get back to popping these covers off. All right, guys, I got the 4mm out of the other side, and I also got all the pins out. So now there's underneath here, inside here, there's 2 rubber grommets with pins. And that's all that's holding this plastic on now. So we should be able to just gently pull straight out, and it should come right off here. So we're going to try that now. You got to just pull just a little bit. There you go, guys. And sure enough, here you can see, here's those 2 pins that line up with these 2 rubber grommets here. So I'm going to set this piece aside. I'm going to do the other side, and we're going to, then we'll get into removing some more bolts and nuts. Alright, guys, the next 2 bolts that have to come out are these 2 here. This one on the top, we're going to do this one first, and there's a sister to this one on the other side. And this is the last thing that's holding the piece of plastic on here in the front here, this plastic shroud. So we're going to get this bolt out, get the other side bolt out, and then we're going to lift that out nice and easy. Alright, guys, now that we got this is all freed up, you can see how loose it is. We're going to just real easy, we're going to take it, move it straight back and up and out, and so we don't scratch anything. So we're just going to pick it up easy, and it should just come right out of there. So yeah, so here's our piece out. We're going to go set this on the bench with the other pieces so it doesn't get stepped on or anything like that. and we'll get it out of the way. All right, guys, now it's these two here that hold the front of the tank on. So there's one here, one on the other side, looks exactly the same. And again, it's a 4 mil, guys. So it's been nothing but 4 mil Allen the whole time so far. And I even think under the seat is the same way. So we're gonna pop these two off, and then we'll get working at the back of the tank so we can get it loose and then get it out of the way. And again, guys, we're being careful about things like washers and stuff like that. You know, that washer was just loose there, so we don't want to lose this. So we grabbed it and put it aside. So we're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Then we're going to move under the seat and get the tank flipped around. All right, guys. So everything on the front of everything up here on the front of the tank is done and taken care of. So now what we got to do is we got to get the back of the tank disconnected. So I'm going to disconnect these. I'm going to take out these two bolts right here, these two Allen bolts, and then that should free the entire tank up and allow me to get it out of the way, so that I can, you know, everything will be freed up so I can get it out of the way and get to the ECU. So there is a nut under each one of these. So, and it's, again, it's a 4 millimeter, and we're going to disconnect those two, and then we'll get the tank out of the way. And again, guys, I'm holding my finger under there because there is a nut that I don't want to lose. Of course, I said that, and I dropped the nut. So we'll grab a magnet in a minute, we'll get that back. So, but here, let's see if we don't drop the second one. Okay. Luckily, guys, I can see where I dropped this one, so I'm just going to grab my magnet here and go in there and grab it out. And see, always a good tool to have, guys. Grab, if you don't have one of these magnets like this, go get one. All right, guys, quick shot of the workbench before we flip that tank around and stuff like that. But I wanted to show you my layout here. So you can see here, guys, I laid the fairing pieces out, the bolts, the gas tank bolts and everything, and I spread it all out basically where they go. So that way in a week or so when I get my ECU back and I'm putting everything back together, I can kind of remember where this goes. I mean, the good thing too is a video, right, guys? So even if you're not making YouTube videos or Instagram or anything like that, you know, take a camera video with your iPhone or your Android phone, or take pictures as you go along, guys, because it makes it so much easier to go back through and put all this stuff back if you could see where you took it out. But as you can see, I basically laid this stuff out in the way I took it off. And that way, yeah, like I said, it just makes life a lot easier when you go back at it. All right, guys, you can see now the tank can be lifted up and moved very easily. I didn't want to get into tearing the fuel lines out and everything like that, so all we're going to do is we're going to take this up. I got a moving blanket on top of the bike here to protect the seat area and underneath the seat. We're just going to pick the whole thing up. We're going to turn the gas tank about 180 degrees, and we're going to let it rest on here. The vent tubes will be a little tight, guys, so you just got to tug on them a little bit, but it should work just fine. All right, and there we go, guys, right? The tank is now flipped around out of the way. I didn't have to mess with the fuel line down here. I didn't have to mess with the vent lines. Like I said, we had to tug on them a little bit here, under here, but we should be pretty good now, and that tank is going to, you know, should stay out of the way and be just fine. All right, guys, this gives you a little better view of where I tugged on those vent lines right here. You can see these two lines here got pulled up a little bit. They just run down here alongside the engine and down for the fuel tank here. So it'll be nothing, see, because they're still stuck out here. So once I put the tank back, we could tug on those a little bit, get those put back into position. But like I said, guys, you can see up in here, we didn't have to pull the fuel lines off. We didn't have to pull the electrical for the fuel pump or anything like that off. And everything's in place. So that gives us access now underneath the bike here, where we have our air box and we have our ECU. And we're going to pop this ECU off. So we got to take these connectors off down at the bottom here. And we're going to slide this ECU out, and we're going to get this boxed up and mailed off to David over at Vcyclenut. Alright, guys, first things first is to get the ECU out. So if you look here, see right here, there's these two little flaps right here. If you just pick up on those, the ECU should slide down. Yep, here it goes. And then you can slide it all the way out. Should we slide it back, and we should be able to pull it out here. Maybe not. Hold on. Let's see what's stopping. No, it's the wires are stopping it. So we gotta get the wires out of their little spots here first. So there's two little spots here. Now it should be pretty easy to slide this out. Yep, here we go. All right, guys. So the ECU is slid out now. we're gonna flip it over here, and hopefully you guys can see. I'm gonna move the camera so you guys can see this and how to disconnect the cables there. Hold on one second. All right, guys, so you can see the ECU here for these connectors here. This one here is just the two little ones. Just push the middles here, so you push, and they should just wiggle right out nice and easy. Now on this one, we have to push. There's something about we got to push down this center piece here. We got to push down, and then this whole lock bar here, this long piece, will flip backwards. So we're gonna push down on the middle, and hopefully, you know, something, guys, I'm gonna grab a screwdriver because I can't really push that middle pin. All right, guys, so we're gonna push down on this little middle locking section here, and there you go. You see that lock bar, this part here on there slid right back, and now we have our ECU out, guys. So now we're gonna go put this on the bench. We're gonna head over to the post office, get a box, and we're gonna ship it off to David so he can flash it and turn my bad boy into a monster. Alright, guys, so that was how to get the ECU out of the bike. It's I got it set aside over on the bench right now with the other parts. I'm heading to the post office, pick up a box, get it put in a, get it mailed out to David over at Vcyclenut, and then he'll flash it and send it back to me. So right now, guys, here's the current state of the motorcycle. We are obviously not riding it, but I caught a good week to do this because it's supposed to rain all week here in Florida, so South Florida. So we're going to leave the bike like this, mail out these parts, and go from there. All right, guys, till the next one. Stay safe.